Now, you've sort of become a bit of a resident of the Lower Mainland because of, once upon a time shooting in Steveston, which is a lovely little bedroom community in Richmond. I just want to get the ball rolling and ask you, what has it been like to shoot in that community, and how has the response been among the members there?
Yeah, it's been great shooting in Steveston. It feels like a little home away from home now. We've spent so much time there. I initially thought maybe people would be annoyed that we were always in their way, but they seem to really like it. And the other day we were tucked into one of the stores, and of course our storefronts are different than what the stores actually are. So I thought I was going into Gold Shop, and I realized that it was definitely not Gold Shop, it was something else. And they're selling all these cool things from the show. There's like a baby Once Upon a Time onesie, and there's like Selena's necklace, and I was like, this is so cool. So it's been fun to watch the town become a part of the show, and the show become a part of the town.
Yeah, I was in there the other day at the post office, actually, and I'm a Richmond resident, so to go back there and see how it's transformed and become a part of the community now is really interesting. It's really sort of helped put Steveston on the map. And, we love all these local productions and movies that are shot here because it's such a burgeoning aspect of the Lower Mainland, the film production. Had you been in this area before for any projects?
Yes, I shot my first film here in 1993 called Intersection.
Right, with Richard Gere.
My career sort of started in Vancouver. And then we shot the pilot for House here. And then I shot the film Bringing Ashley Home here. And now Once Upon a Time. Because I feel like part of the purpose of art is to move people, to encourage them to feel things. And when I say feel things, it's not always good. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's scary, sometimes it's heartwarming, sometimes it's romantic, sometimes it's loss, and there are all different ways of expressing that. I have a very deep, deep, deep respect for Eddie and Adam. I think they are incredible, incredible creative people. And I cannot imagine how difficult it would be to string together and incorporate all these stories together. And the amount of care and love that these guys put into it. And when I tell you, everyone involved in this show really cares and really loves every element of it, and they really want it to be the absolute best it can possibly be. That being said, you can't make everybody happy. And part of what art does is get people riled up and excited, which is great. And so we want people projecting their ideas into the show. We want people seeing themselves in the show. We can't make everyone happy, because we can't write 1,000, 100,000, million different versions of the show. There's only one version, and that's going to be Eddie and Adam's vision, and I support them to be true to that. So I think it's great that people are passionate. I think people should get riled up, and I would like people to be kinder to each other about it. I get worried a little bit sometimes when I see the way people treat each other. But then I went to a baseball game recently. And I was sitting in front of these guys that were screaming and yelling and saying all this crazy stuff. So saying stuff about the pitcher and about the pitcher's mother. Whoa, these guys, wow. And I'm thinking, these guys, they work so hard, and you know how hard it is to be in the major leagues. Give them a break. I know they're not on the team that I'm rooting for, but geez, they've worked so hard. And then I was like, oh my God, this is Twitter. It's like people screaming in a baseball game, So I think that it's tough because it's very easy to get wrapped up in all of it. It's very easy to take it all personally, but the reality is we all need different outlets in different ways. We all express ourselves in different ways. I'm very proud to be a part of Once Upon a Time, and I'm very honored that Eddie and Adam write the show, and I believe in everything that they write, and I will always stand by it. And I think it's great. You know what? People are going to want to, see what they want to see, project what they want to project. I wish we could make everyone happy, but we can't. And I would just say try to be as nice to each other as possible while you're being passionate.
Thank you so much.
Well, Ted, what can you do, Oh, Zoey. She was so complicated. People have very passionate feelings about Zoey's passionate feelings. I don't know what to say except that I just showed up and played the character written for me. I didn't always understand her passion, but I went for it. And I had a good time with it. I think, you know, I always looked at it like Zoey connected through two people through conflict. So, as much as that sounds crazy, she found ways to feel closer to someone by being in conflict with them. So, I don't know, Ted won. It's all good. They all start to blend together. It really, I don't know. I'm either like losing my mind or really exhausted. But some of the hardest stuff is just the things that you have to physically do over and over again. When you watch the show, you see it once. And when we shoot something, you have to shoot it from a million different angles in order to be able to cut it all together to see what you guys end up seeing. So we look like we've had a sword fight for 3 minutes and we've had a sword fight for 2 days, 36 hours, you know? So, like this week was a tough week that way in the sense that I did have 2 days back to back of really physical stuff, and then anyone who was in Steveston 2 nights ago knows that it was really cold and they had industrial strength fans blowing on me in addition to the cold in the middle of the night while I was doing really crazy physical stuff. So, you know, it's so fun to do while you're doing it and your adrenaline gets so high and it's like exciting, and then you wake up the next morning and you're not sure if you're ever going to be able to walk like a person again. So some of it is just knowing that when you're going to work 16 hours a day, every day, and you have some of that physical grueling stuff that backs up on itself, it's just the endurance that you have to push through that and try to be present emotionally and do the best acting you could possibly do. So some of it is just how it all compounds on itself. And then I guess some of the tougher scenes are the emotional ones, because you have to keep yourself in such a emotional state for a long time as well. Like, we don't cry once, we cry, you know, all day for 12, 15 hours sometimes. I clearly have a lot to cry about. But I also find that when stuff feels hard like that, it's the most rewarding. So the payoff is that when you put that work in and you put that rigor into something, then the payoff is the excitement of having accomplished it, or having that connection with the other actors and feeling like you were able to really experience something that you were aiming for. You know, I'm very lucky in my real life that I have 2 wonderful parents who love me and have taken good care of me. So I had a lot of work ahead of me in terms of really uncovering what it would be like to have the absolute opposite of that. So I read countless memoirs written by people who went through the foster system, most of whom had gone through really tough versions of the foster system because that's what was going to serve this particular story. And I systematically built a life of memories for her from those memoirs. So I started from a very young age, and I built cycles of abuse and abandonment mixed in with moments of relief and almost love or almost support into, you know, another version of losing that for some reason, and then what that might lead to. So I took very personal stories from those memoirs that aren't my personal stories, but were someone's very personal stories, and I built an entire life for her of those memories. And so I've been very careful to pull on very specific memories from that life in the moments when Emma is the most shut down or the most hurt or the most unable to be vulnerable. So yeah, there's a whole little world that I hope in a way is my, I don't know, tip of the hat or my respect for what some people have suffered in the foster systems that have failed them, and it's my reverence for what they have had to overcome.
How did that affect you emotionally?
It's devastating. I mean, early on when I was reading all those books back to back to back, it's like a heavy place to sit in, because I can't imagine accidentally hurting a child. Sorry, this makes me really upset, much less intentionally. And some of the things that, sorry, I didn't mean to get this emotional about it, but some of the things that I read about are just unfathomable, what people have survived. And it gives me such an incredible awe for the human spirit, but also just how people are capable of being so cruel to each other is absolutely astounding to me. So there is, I don't know, it feels unfair for me to be emotional about it because it didn't happen to me, but I just have such awe, respect, and reverence for people who've overcome that kind of damage in their life.
I just like to let you know that life goes on and we move on.
Yeah. Well, since there isn't really magic, there's a lot of acting going on. We do a lot of thinking about our magic because we don't want any of it to be unintentional. So, you know, for Emma in particular, because she was not very good at magic for a long time, it took a lot of effort. You know, like some of these, you know, villains, they sort of throw around magic, like, and like, you know, the world falls apart. And Emma's like throwing stuff around because it takes effort. She's not good at it. You know, she's not used to it, so she's working hard at it. And then there's certain things like the moment where she manifests the page. She goes, oh, I've been practicing. You know, so the effortlessness comes in moments like that because she's been practicing. So there's always a lot of discussion about the way magic happens. And for Emma also in particular, her magic will always be tied to Elsa, because Elsa was the one who really took the time to work with her and teach her magic. So you guys will see that a lot of the physicality of my magic actually mimics a variation of what Elsa does, because it would be assumed that she's the one who taught her. So that would definitely like feed through the way Emma's magic works.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for all your awesome questions, you guys.